Howdy, folks. Welcome to the latest episode of Pubcast Plays Dungeons Dragons.
Which number is this?
It is episode 11.
11.
We've now been doing it for a year and a month.
Last episode was a year.
Yeah.
And was our 10th episode, Ryan?
Yeah, so this
In case
is
you didn't know.
the 11th episode, and we've been doing this for a year and 1 month.
Year and 1 month.
And a couple of days. Because it's just over the... We're
We're
recording this episode on the...
Get this down to the second.
To the second. No.
That requires maths, though. I don't know.
I mean, I could if I really, really wanted to, but it'd be boring for everyone. But yes, welcome to the latest episode of Pubcast Plays Dungeons Dragons. I am your DM as always. I'm Wayne, and we have the cadre of players with us. We left off after freeing the denizens of the City of Bones that was being ruled by the sleazy and controlling Valak the Lesser. The group make their way make their way on the back of miniature dragon mounts to the Sky Islands, where they discover the Black Asylum, a disturbing place that supposedly has a link to Norman's past. While investigating, Aratir experiences some sort of vision where she finds herself in the middle of a vicious battle outside the walls of Terrace Moor. Some of her companions are lying dead at her feet. Large crystalline spiders roam the battlefield, laying waste to everything around them. During further investigation, after Aratir comes back out of her trance, Loran discovers a mysterious book, which has a strange effect on Norman, forcing his true form out of his meat sleeve, as I call them.
That is kind of...
out of his meat sleeve. It forces him to find a new vessel, and he settles on the body of a recently deceased young elf. If an elf can be in the teenage years, that's kind of in that general vicinity, is what it's at.
Yeah, he's a broody teen elf.
Yeah, broody teen elf. They investigate further into the asylum, finding a very large laboratory, and at the back of this, they discover what seems to be some sort of gateway into the unknown. Norman, believing it to be a portal and his return to his own plane of existence, immediately steps through it. No questions asked.
Yeah, Norman loves stepping through doors. That's his favourite thing.
Kicking them down and straight. Doesn't even bother to kick them down, just straight through the doors.
Guy just loves doors.
Just loves doors in general.
First.
Ogan, who was trying to investigate the portal a bit further, also got sucked in.
I thought it was a game.
Yeah.
I didn't want to go last because I'm always going last in these things. So I thought second would be good. But since no one else is coming through, looks like I'm last again.
So following this and a minor emotional breakdown, believing that Norman and Ogan have both been killed after entering the mysterious whirling portal, Loran and Aratir and Kodeen, Loran with Aratir and Kodeen in tow, decides to leave the Black Asylum. While very much alive, Ogan and Norman find themselves in the most unexpected company of a Gargantuan Silver Dragon, who claims to be none other than Dacius Trevelyan. And that's where we left off. So we are going to start off this session with Loran, Aratir, and Kodeen as they are beginning to make their way back out of the laboratory area. So what did the group want to do at this point?
I'm going home.
Okay.
I want to leave. I'm tired of this place.
I'm going back to my mom and dad to beg them to take me back into my lavish lifestyle.
Please.
I have done nothing wrong in my life ever.
I'm asset rich, but cash poor.
Oh my god.
So Loran is making a beeline for the door. What is Aratir and Kodeen doing at this point?
I look to Aratir. Has Loran exclaimed that? Has she actually flounced out and said I'm going home, or has she said anything?
He hasn't.
Oh my god!
A year and 1 month into the campaign, and we still the gender fluidity of Loran is just like.
That's like 13 months.
Yeah.
Yes, really good at math.
For some.
13 genders in 13 months.
I'm here for it.
I don't think he's really said. I think he's kind of just like, oh, well, this is it now. We're finished. So,
okay.
He's going to fund me.
So I don't think Kodeen is gonna, huh?
He did invite Aratir to come live in his big palace.
That's true.
Yes.
He did.
So I don't think Kodeen would allow an emotionally distressed tiefling that has already been through quite a lot of trauma and is slightly unreliable would follow him out of here. But I presume Aratir is, and Kodeen wants to keep some semblance of a group together. So
Nothing.
if
I said, presume nothing, bitch. Aratir, like, particularly after Aratir and Loran's little chat a couple of episodes ago, Aratir's quite tuned into how he's feeling, and I'm not going to let him flounce off. He's talked about before how he doesn't really have anywhere to go, so should we not just stay together for the time being?
It is quite presumptive on Loran's part that the parents will take him back. The parents will take him.
Or that his parents are alive.
No, they are alive. One canon thing is he didn't kill his parents, he just planned to.
Yeah.
But they might have died of natural causes in this time.
Yeah, well...
I like to think there's
Loran,
still
can you do me a favor just real quick and roll a history check, please?
Roll for dead parents.
Roll for dead parents.
Don't use the Disney dice. Do not use the Disney dice.
14.
14. As far as you remember from dealing with Valak in your realm, your parents were under his thrall. They were under his control of some sort, and they were, from your vision of what you saw, you can't remember whether they're alive or dead. You just do remember that they were under his control.
Sure. So in his mind, he's like, that means there is a beautiful golden chance they won't remember anything, and I'll be in the good books. So...
Well, everyone else under, just not to be the devil on the shoulder, but
Stop metagaming, you're not here.
yeah, that's true. No, this is
Yeah.
no, I'm not playing.
You're
Loran.
not here.
I'm playing Loran's conscience right now.
You can.
I have two characters, and my other one is Loran's conscience. Yeah, Valak. All the other people under Valak's control remembered everything.
Yeah, well, you gotta risk it sometimes.
Oh no, I just think this is going to be really fun.
Can I ask a geography question?
You can't ask a geography
Where,
question.
Loran, where was your homestead? Whereabouts in the world?
Great question. Yeah.
The world.
Where was my gaff? Because I left that part up to you because I didn't know the map too well.
So here's the thing. When you arrived here, you arrived here through a portal.
Yeah.
As far as you remember. And you're
Into
not
the
100.
asylum.
You're not into this realm into the realm of Terrace-Moor. When Loran arrived here, as you remember, upon your encounter with Valak, you ended up going through a portal. So you don't know how far your home is from here. You don't know as far as your geography is concerned, because Loran is a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
He's a dumb thought, yeah.
So, I mean, if you want to try and remember what the situation is, I'll let you roll with disadvantage.
What am I rolling?
Roll a history check.
Another history check with disadvantage.
Yarp.
So that one will be a 15. 11.
11. You really can't remember, given your current geographical situation, the way home.
So you rolled for where in the world, and you rolled Teresa Lowe.
Yeah.
I'm going. I'm sorry.
Fire, Kimbo.
Yeah. She definitely didn't roll Carmen San Diego anyway. So, Loran, right now, even though you're adamant that you're leaving and you need to go home, right now in your mind, you don't know where home is. From here, from this particular point, you've no recollection of your kind of like where your true north is as getting yourself home.
Perhaps
Sure,
the real home is the friend you made along the way.
Definitely not.
It's not here, no. Right here.
I think he's stubborn enough that he's just gonna get on the dragon and fly until he sees what looks like his house.
Oh, no.
Okay. So, are the three of you making your way out of the laboratory?
I mean, probably.
Okay.
Is one thing I'd just about that I've never asked. Is this like Is this a curved world or a flat world? Because if
What do you mean? All worlds are flat. What are you on about?
But this is a fantasy setting, so it could be a sphere.
Or you could make it up and make it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah.
That'd
be weird. All your stuff would fall off the table.
All I'll say as the DM is that all things will be revealed regarding geography.
Okay.
Oh,
Flat Earth.
Yeah, because I tried in the last game and didn't know Jack.
Okay. So, are the three of you making your way out of the laboratory at this
Well, I
time?
assume so.
Okay.
Probably
as
not together.
Yeah, I mean, if Loran is leading the way and kind of like steamrolling out of here, I take it the two of you are following him, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Aratir is, and I'm following Aratir.
Okay.
No offense, Loran.
So Loran,
I don't like you.
as Loran heads through the doorway first, and as the two of you are following up, and you both make your way in quick succession out, you hear a kind of a popping sound as you make your way through the doorway, and you find yourself back in the kind of corridor area of the asylum. Because previously how you got down here, you came down through a lift shaft.
We did.
And up a corridor and in through this doorway. As you went in through the doorway, originally there was a kind of a feeling that you had shifted in distance and you had traveled. And as you make your way back through the doorway, even though the entryway is open and clear, as you step through that doorway, there's another sense that you're traveling, and there's a pop in your mind, and you kind of apparate into the main hallway of the asylum. Loran first, and then in quick succession, the two of you land in behind him.
These guys knew what they were doing.
Yeah.
As this happens, I want all of you to roll perception.
5.
5.
Oh,
1.
9.
Yeah, 1.
Aratir is like, hang on, this is an asylum.
You all pop in and start to make your way back down the corridor, and as you do this, none of you notice that you are completely surrounded.
Oh, bollocks.
You look, as you kind of are making your way, you're not paying any attention to your surroundings, but up on the catwalks above you.
Aratir is so oblivious, she's actually whistling.
Up on the catwalks above you, a lot, kind of hiding out of the, like hiding in the corridors beside you in the adjacent rooms. You don't see cloaked individuals, but there is one individual standing at the far end of the corridor that you're walking down, and they are standing there, and they have what looks like a bow and arrow knocked and pointed in your general direction.
Right.
It's a cloaked figure. From your perception rolls, you can't really make it much more than that, and you just hear them in a very kind of calm but commanding voice. I bid you to halt where you stand.
Well, fuck.
Well, we do that.
As you all stop, you look up and you now start to see all these individuals. Some of them with kind of like bows, some of them with spears. There also seem to be a few spellcasters. You can't really make out exact numbers, but you are severely outnumbered.
Like 10 to 1 kind of thing.
Easily 10 to 1. The individual in front of you slowly is moving towards you, still with their bow drawn.
Kodeen, I don't think we can fight our way out of this, so your silver tongue may come in real handy about now.
Okay, I'm going to...
No pressure, like.
No pressure. I am... The cloaked individual that spoke is directly in front of us, Wayne?
Yeah, so in the corridor that you're in, you're kind of... Like, Loran is out in front, Aratir directly behind him, and then you're behind Aratir, because it's the order that you came out of the doorway.
Okay, I am going to gently hoosh Loran back behind.
Thank you. I didn't want to do that. There's enough strikes against me with Loran. I am going to
just like a little bird back there.
I'm going to take that cue. I'm going to circumvent the group and head.
Okay, that's fan art right there. Just Aratir with Loran under her arm, just like.
And I'm gonna
Love him.
I'm gonna head to the top
like
and
holding with just his head poking out like a dog.
I'm going to go up with my hands raised and say, see, this is the problem where after roleplay being charming, I'm just.
You can do it.
I will also
roll
remind.
four dice in a row, and
I
Wayne
will
does
also-
my dialogue for me.
I will also
Huh?
remind you that you have that
Yeah.
spell I gave you.
Oh no, I did not forget about that, and I should have used it that time at Norman, but we'll get to that. So,
Sorry.
Can I make a quick action before Kodeen?
Of course you can. Yeah, of course you can.
Well, I make a tiny hut for me and Aratir. I do not let Kodeen inside.
So,
Run away.
these tiny hut maneuvers are, so powerful.
Tiny hut maneuvers. If I didn't already have the name of the episode planned, tiny hut maneuvers would be like, it's the name of our second album.
Yeah, it is.
Amazing.
And our spin-off band.
Tiny hut maneuvers.
I
So
prefer arcane headaches, but anyway.
yeah. As Loran casts this spell and the hut like into existence around Aratir and Loran,
Okay.
the group that are kind of encompassing the area all tense, and you see the individual at the end pull their bow right back and go,
Yeah.
I bid you hold and explain your reason for being here.
Well done, Loran. Anyway, I move towards him with my
Bitch,
hands
I
up.
can't hear you.
Loran has cast his tiny hut,
It's tiny hut.
his tiny hut, and Aratir is trapped inside, leaving Kodeen outside to deal with the kind of surrounding forces. And this one individual that's now walking towards you after the hut is into existence. This individual has now knocked their bow back further and has raised it up to eye level and is basically demanding, explain your presence here.
Okay, I've got my hands up, but in a kind of cool way, not in a.
Are you?
Kodeen, you got this.
Jazz hands.
I say, despite my companion's nervousness, we're no threat to you.
I'm not nervous. He
I'm
is.
also not nervous. I just wanted you to handle this.
Okay, and now, can I just clarify as well, just to make sure?
You're both in a hut. I can't hear either.
If you're
of you.
both in a
What?
hook, if you're shouting, can Kodeen hear you? I don't think.
If I want her to, I think.
If you want. So it's like, I think this, because that hut kind of keeps sound and everything in there. You're
Okay.
protected.
He's sticking their faces out like this, like.
They
I'm
could
just
be.
saying little
They
things
could
and
be
then go-
if they want.
Oh, are
No.
we like a human totem? So like there's white head underneath.
Either way, they're salting my game if I can hear their yelling.
Okay.
Yeah. So, as Kodeen approaches, you say that you're here, like you're trying to convince him that you're not here under any dodgy pretense. I need you to roll
Yeah.
persuasion.
Okay.
And I'm gonna.
And just on the end, I say, what can we do in order to get out of here without bothering anybody?
Well,
And I rolled a 23. Bye-bye.
ooh, he okay. The individual kind of, you see the bow slack slightly, and
Not only is he persuaded, he's now in love with you.
he basically kind of relaxes the bow ever so slightly, but is still keeping it trained on you. And he's like, "You're investigating."
Yes.
Well, there is a way out of here, but it's with us, and I can't be persuaded otherwise because there is somebody you need to speak to.
Ugh.
Okay, can you take me to them?
And he kind of looks up and he drops the bow slightly and he raises his hand. We can. It would require your colleagues to come out from their dwelling.
Their diminutive dwelling.
Did not pick up the tent. No.
No?
Okay.
No, it's stuck. It's kind of contains everything in there.
Dimension.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Okay, I'm going to walk back to the tiny hut and I'm going to address my companions and say, guys, there's one way out of here and it's with these guys. And can I roll persuasion again? Because Loran is just like not having most of my business.
Does that make I get to make a charisma saving throw against
You
Cody.
can, yeah. If you're going to roll persuasion against Loran can roll kind of charisma against you to see if it works or not. So
Okay.
There's one just to really like get the mental image of this down. One really funny thing about the tiny hut is that it's completely opaque from the outside, so you can't see in, but it's completely transparent from the inside. So like being in one of those weird like glass boxes, it's all one-way glass.
Yeah, it's like a viewing bubble, or in this case, I take it's still taking the form that it took the last time, which was of a little miniature teepee.
Yeah.
So as for everyone else is concerned that's outside of it, they just see this like out of nowhere, this like boom, this teepee have folded out and enveloped the large form of Aratir and the lesser large form of Loran, and they're kind of like, yeah. So, but from within there, you're just looking out on everyone else, all kind of looking at where you are, quite confused. And now Kodeen has come up to the TP and is kind of like boom, boom, boom on the canvas and has addressed both of you inside it. And if you want to roll persuasion against Loran there, and Loran, if you want to roll your charisma check or saving throw against it.
I just sent my roll to the group chat.
That was to the
That's the wrong group chat, Kim.
28.
Both.
28.
28.
28,
Oh, that's cool.
baby.
I got a 1. So
You got a 1.
Oh, so not only does Loran leave the tiny hut, he marries me. I love that. I love that.
like
I don't see it from me, but okay.
I still don't feel like in character Loran would go along with Kodeen's instructions. Like I know in character it makes sense for him. But I won't argue with the numbers if that's how you want to do it.
Well, we've always gone with character over numbers.
Yeah, we've always gone with character. It's always about the story. It's never about the roles. So, I mean, it's a case of the roles will come into it when they really need to.
You can throw a tantrum every step of the way.
Yeah, if you allow for Aratir to leave the hut, and then
Aratir can leave.
Yeah, but if Aratir then tries to drag you from the hut, there's going to be conflict here. So if Loran is going to throw a strop and just stay there, there's going to be a guard that's going to stay with Loran and not let Loran move from that hut. And Loran is going to be left
probably
in the
more
hut.
than one.
Because it's a case of right now, these guards, whoever these people are, if you want to leave the asylum, it's their way or no way at all.
Okay.
That's pretty much how it is.
So
that's what you're getting from the fact that there's now about, as you can see, as Kodeen looks up and looks around, there's easily about 40 to 50 of these people, all in different kind of positions, all of different strengths. Some of them are using marital weapons, some of them are using magic. The three of you could not take these people down. Yeah. And if, depending on how you want to do this, depending on as you want to do it as a group, it could either go messy and could end up with a TPK, or it could go with, you just want to decide that you're actually going to follow this group to where they want to take you. It's your choice.
If they burn down the tiny hut, that would be a TPK.
Hey!
I held that in, Ryan.
Why would you do that?
Yeah.
Just let it out. That's what we're here for.
So let me just get
straight
in this situation that we're in. On one hand, I can go with all of these angry men with lots of weapons. I can stay
put it
here.
that way.
I can stay here and maybe be killed.
Yep.
I could go into the weird portal and hope I die.
Well, I kind of want to go with these guys because what else am I going to do? And I'd rather have you around to do that.
Yeah, I value our friendship. However, I'm not willing to do life-changing things for you. I don't mean that to be mean.
Fair enough. So you're going to stay here, be guarded by these guys? Because I'm going to go with Kodeen. Stalemate.
I'm going to start moving towards, back towards the man.
I'm going to come out of the tiny hut, and I'm going to straight up to the main guy.
Okay.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Oh, shit.
Listen, mister.
Don't you know know who I am.
It's like, excuse me, sir. I understand we're in a strange pickle here. This is completely unnecessary. I mean, you have, 50 guys? We're like 3 people. 2 of us can do combat. Gosh, I hope you feel tough. Second of all, who are you?
He kind of looks down, and there's kind of a bit of a little kind of twitch at the side of his mouth.
Yeah.
He kind of just looks, and he's like, "My name is Gore, and
Right.
I am the leader of this small group here.
It's not really a small group, but we are a small group. That's quite a big group.
In the grand scheme of things, where we come from, we are a small group.
Okay.
You're a trio, and
Yes. Okay.
I've been sent to find the people that have infiltrated the asylum, which are you three, by the looks of it. And
Pretty
thank
well.
you.
Infiltrated. We just got here.
We just
Also,
got
it wasn't locked, so we didn't really infiltrate.
No.
Well, you are here, and you set off our alarms. I'm not one to answer your questions. I am merely a soldier. I have to take you to
Are
somebody
you here
who
for
will-
Shazzy?
Who?
Sorry.
I do not know who this Shazzy person is. We have merely been sent to retrieve the individuals that are now traipsing around the asylum, which are you
Why do
three.
you want to retrieve us? Could you just let us go home?
You don't understand. There are grander things here that you need to understand.
Oh, there always are.
Yes, there are. And we are merely just playing parts in it right now.
I'm going to throw Gore a look saying, yeah, you see what I have to deal with? It's okay. Let's go.
So what does the group want to do here now? What does Loran want to do? Like, clearly, Kodeen and Aratir, do you want to go with Gore and the rest of
Yeah.
these individuals?
Is it possible to get back to the portal?
You get the feeling that if you try to move from here, at least there might be some resistance to you going back into, because right now, so when you materialize into the long corridor. It leads into the big room at the end of the corridor. You would have to go back up and down again to get to it. So the portal brought you out into this particular section. So
Well, I
does
mean, I fucking guess we go with the guys then.
yeah, okay. So
Glad to have you, Lauren.
so Gore kind of motions around and kind of does a circling motion, and you see kind of people drop off and some jump down off the balcony area, and it's like, well, we must give you these free travel. And he reaches out to each of you individually and pins what looks like a kind of a small brooch with a green gem in the center on your tunic and on your armor, each individually as he does it. And you don't let him.
He doesn't. I don't trust this guy, and he's suddenly putting some weird magical brooch on me. Absolutely not.
Okay.
Might be jabs you with it by mistake.
Yeah, see, he could be
Yeah.
careless.
He's like pinning it to your
And plus, my clothes are super nice. He's not going to put a pin through them.
very nice clothes.
Right. Well, he goes, if you do not wish to at least hold it.
Yeah, I'll hold it. That's fine.
What is it?
Huh?
What is it?
Don't touch the fantasy D&D.
It is a device that allows us all to travel instantaneously together as a group.
Okay, so where exactly
Are we leaving?
are we leaving this location?
Yes, we
Are
are.
we leaving this
Definitely.
plane?
Again, all will be revealed. I need you to come with me.
Nah. No, I need a bit more information before I'm gonna
Yeah.
talk with you. By brooch.
He
Yeah.
kind of looks around, and everyone is kind of looking at him as if to say, like, oh, okay.
Hurry up.
And they now look around. They all start to look around themselves as you notice that they've made a circle around you and are guarding themselves outwardly, as if they're
Oh.
expecting something.
So what you're
Oh.
saying is, with this brooch, we will all simultaneously, as a whole group, travel.
Yes.
All right?
He kind of looks at. He's like, all I will tell you is, and all I can tell you at this moment, in my limited knowledge of the situation, is that we need to leave the asylum now. We can only be here for a short period of time on each trip. We are the guardians of this place, and we guard it from what inhabits its darker corners. If you come with us, you will be safe. I guarantee your safety. We mean you no harm.
What about our dragons?
Your dragons?
Yes.
Is this how you managed to get here?
Yes.
Are they tethered up outside?
Yeah.
Yes.
Bear with me a second. He turns, you see him go off to three of his companions who were standing off to one side. And you just hear mumbling, he gestures, and the three of them look at each other and make their way out. And you see them go out through the double doors at the far end of the corridor. After a couple of minutes, one of them comes back in and raises his hand and does this. And Gore signals and is like... And you see them then try to handle and bring in three of the dragon mounts in through the double doors. And as they get close, it takes them some time. And again, the group are starting to get a bit more fractious and anxious about the whole situation. You start to hear noises in the far reaches of the asylum. Kind of like, sounds like stuff breaking and every now and again a small wail of such. The dragon mounts are slowly but surely brought into the center of the circle. And Gore kind of gestures towards them as he places, he reaches into a pouch at his side and places a medallion on each of their saddles.
Can I approach my dragon?
You can, yeah.
I hop up to my dragon and I kind of like, run a hand kind of over it. But I would like to make a sleight of hand roll to put my pin in its saddle pouch.
Okay.
Ooh.
It's only 8.
And Gore rolled a 15 on perception, so he saw you try to do it. And he kind of reaches over and holds your hand with the pin in it, and then looks over at three of his colleagues that seem to be casting something. And in an instant, all of you together are transported. There's like a kind of a tense pulling sensation as you're all dragged inwards. And then, much like the travel through the doorway earlier on, there's like a... and you find yourself all kind of like landing as if you were falling, boom, on your feet. Your mounts kind of land beside you, like, look around, a bit anxious, kind of a strange look on their faces as they kind of adjust to their new settings. As you look around, you find yourself what looks like you're inside a cave system, underground. There is light all around you. There are like sconces on the walls, as there are torchlight all along the walls. It seems to be a large circular chamber with, as your eyes kind of adjust and you look around, there seems to be text and scrawls on the wall around this general circular area. And on the floor, you see a large kind of circular, not a pentagram shape, but general intersecting lines with script all over it. Gore kind of motions his hand again, and the group around you disperse, and the three individuals that were holding onto your mounts kind of begin to lead the way, and Gore gestures towards them, like, they will be safe. We will care for them and feed them, and when it is time for your departure, you may leave with them. He kind of gestures towards a kind of an open cavern area that leads out of the circular area, and gestures like, please follow me. And he kind of starts to make his way off. At this point, I'm going to switch over to Norman and Ogan. Where we left off with Norman and Ogan, they were met with the visage of this giant Gargantuan Silver Dragon that had just told them that he is Dacius Trevelyan, at which Norman was quite put out by.
That would be a fair assessment.
Say that again.
Yeah. So what are the two of you doing at this moment?
Walking as far as I can and as fast as I can in the other direction from this prick.
Okay. Ogan, what are you doing?
I'm not too sure. I'm gonna look around. Ogan's gonna look around.
Yeah, I'm not even looking at our surroundings. I'm just picking a direction and going in it. I'm not talking to this guy.
Is the portal closed?
Well, the corridor you came back down, as you look behind, you don't see anything. There's nothing there. It looks like it was just a one-way system. Norman, as you're kind of making your way off, you're kind of looking at this general area, and it looks like an enclosed. It's quite a large area, but it's an enclosed cavern. As you're looking off into the distance, you don't really see a way out per se. This looks like it's very much a cage of some sort, built with rock all around you. The only exit or entrance or any kind of leading pathway off is the one you just came down.
Does he have because obviously this is a dragon cave? Is there like a horde? Does he have a horde?
There isn't. As you look around, roll a perception check for me, please, both of you.
Yeah, I thought this was just kind of like some kind of dragon sex dungeon or something. But okay,
it could be. That's a 13.
13.
I think that's an 8.
An 8. Norman, you notice that as you're looking around, you're kind of storming off. There is no horde. There's no treasure. Storming Norman. There's no treasure of any sort. As you look around, you notice that the dragon seems to be manacled and chained in place. So there's a huge collar around his neck with a massive chain that leads up into the ceiling and is bolted in with these huge bolts. And there seems to be an arcane glow coming off the chain. The wings are trimmed back and held in place with large, what look like padlocks of sort. His back legs are chained, and his tail while it is kind of moving, it does have a manacle on the end that is also chained and up into the wall. His front 2 legs do seem to be able to move about ever so slightly, but there is also manacles on them, and they are chained. So this dragon looks like he is held in place by some form of arcane, like manacles, bracers, the whole lot. Everything is trapped in place.
Well, this could be worse.
He kind of looks around as like, there is no physical way out of here. I have searched and tried to find an exit, but have failed, and I have been here a very long time.
Roughly how long?
Yeah, I'd like to know that as well.
I estimate roughly a couple of 100 years.
Oh, yeah. That'll do it.
Nice.
Why have you spent so much time down here? It's not.
Trust me, I did not choose this situation. I am a prisoner of sorts.
Oh, that's not nice. Why? Who trapped you here?
Tell me, I'd like to send them flowers.
I hate that. They had me in a cage a while ago. That sucked.
I look at Ogan completely unironically, and I'm like, no, that was quite bad, to be fair. I'm glad you got out of that.
Thanks. I really needed to go. 3 days is a long time.
Give Ogan a pat.
I am quite confused. If you made your way here, you must know who my jailer is.
No, I just thought it was a game. He went through some kind of mirror thing, and I followed.
Interesting.
It's what I do. Well, it leads you to places like this. Like, I didn't know that we'd, see you here chained up.
Hey, may I ask you, have you encountered individuals bearing my name?
Unfortunately.
Have we? I'm very bad with names. But have we? We have?
I
I'm getting...
must explain. You see, my jailer is a vile creature. He goes by the name of Dillis Quoval.
There's a name.
Cool.
Down.
He is a drow necromancer of vile machinations. He has designs on molding the world to his liking. And my imprisonment is one of his means to an end.
You see, many hundreds of years ago, myself and for the search of a better word, my companions tried to put a stop to him. And we were cursed. And I was trapped here. I have been trying to reach out through the veil of this, as I've noticed that the gateways and the fabric between the realms is softening and failing. May I ask, the world that you inhabit, do you know how it was founded and how it became to be?
Yeah. I woke up and I looked around and there it was. I found it. Why do you want to know?
How old is your lands?
I don't know. I don't even know how old I am. So,
You see,
5?
the land you inhabit,
5 at least.
5 at least, the land you inhabit is not the real world that you know, or should know. Quval is a vile individual, as I have said, but his designs are that of breaking through and bringing into this realm and other realms creatures of much evil. He believes that the energies in the world that you inhabit are his to play with. And many, many years ago, myself and my companions tried to stop him, as I've said, and we failed, which led to the creation of the world you now inhabit.
Oh.
Where am I?
Honestly, this guy kind of seems up my street.
Were the rest of your mates like yourself, like a dragon, or?
No, I came here in this form, but I can take other forms if needs be. My proxies, if you will, that I've put out in the world. And he raises his right arm, or his right front leg, and you notice that there's a large patch of skin where his scales would be. That is completely, looks like it's been plucked, and there's a large patch where the scales are gone, and he gestures towards it, and it has healed as such over the years, but it seems to be some kind of wound.
That happens with dragons.
It happens with dragons. I have sent my emissaries out into the world by plucking my scales. I have found tiny cracks in this existence. And he gestures in the air, and you see his finger kind of make a small tear in the general fabric of reality. A tiny tear that he can fit like his nail through ever so slightly.
It's weird. I don't remember meeting anybody made out of entire scales. Now that I think of it, have we, Norman? That's why it's the name sounds familiar though, but
yeah, tough to say.
Wait, could you not shrink yourself down and maybe go through the small tears?
As you can see, and he kind of tries to gesture up, and as he moves his arms, the chains go taut, and he's like, I am a prisoner here. It would take some extraplanar energy to break me loose from this realm. I have no choice but to try and stop Quval in the only way I know how, and that is to send my emissaries out into the realms to find people such as yourselves.
Quval, his name is it?
Dillis Quval. I take it if you've encountered my emissaries, that they sent you on a quest of sorts.
Excuse me.
Bless you, Jill.
Yes. Just, it feels like it's been like maybe a year and a month since then, and it's all blurry. You know.
I feel as if we've had approximately 11 distinct adventures.
Yeah, about that. But there is this one guy, and he has a habit of like being in several places at once, but he didn't look like you and wasn't covered in scales. So.
He would not look like me. They can't. Can you imagine what it would be like if they saw a Gargantuan dragon walking about the place, trying to recruit adventurers?
I don't know. We're handling it pretty well, so maybe other people would.
No, that's not the way people handle things in my experience. Basically, Quaval has been working behind the scenes, pulling the strings, moving events and people into place. He used the tears in reality to bring creatures here to infiltrate, to put themselves in places of power throughout the centuries. And up until now, he has succeeded in that quest. But you being here means that there is hope. You found this place. You found me.
Well,
kind of by accident, though.
But
just, if I had known there was any chance you would be here, I wouldn't. No.
You seem to have some disdain towards my character.
Quite a lot, yes. I think you are a titanic asshole, but...
In fairness, Norman, you think a lot of people are like that, though.
No, that's fair. That's a reasonable assessment.
From what I've been, hearing.
No, quite right.
So, regardless of your...
of this Koval, does he look like... Give a description of the only other weird necromancy drow I've seen. Remember when we were in Kodeen's parents' house?
Yeah.
And that weird... Because that's one moment I burned. That was a scary moment. Just give a description of that guy.
So you give a description of that guy to Dacius?
Yeah, so it's going to be very vague. It's going to be a real... I'm just describing a generic drow.
Okay.
Is it him?
No!
Drow?
It's kind of like a drow-looking dude.
He's got he's got hair and a mouth with teeth.
Looks like a drow.
And he wears clothes.
I want Ogan to roll a performance check to see if he kind of can enunciate and tell the story to the best of your ability.
Oh well. Oh no. Okay, I got a 9.
9. Okay. You start to
describe. It was really scary, and he had pointy teeth.
Pointy teeth. You start to describe the situation and the individual that you encountered back in Henrik's Point. And as you go through telling Dacius about this individual drow who seemed to have raised the dead, he kind of looks a bit quizzical at you. He's like, maybe this individual generally doesn't show themselves publicly. They let others do their dirty work for them. They have... I take it you came from the asylum.
You mean recently
his
or in
house.
general?
The portal that Duval used to get to this realm to mock me and generally in the most evil, villainous way to inform me of his plans as best he could because he believes I am here for all of eternity.
I love this guy.
If he was the guy we bumped into, he was pretty full of himself. Ogan didn't like him.
If that was him, he was quite full of himself, actually.
He would be quite, as you say, full of his own self-importance to a degree. Hence his want to rule all of eternity. Dacius starts to describe what this guy looks like. He basically says he is obviously a drow of sorts. He wears... His robes are quite elaborate, kind of a deep blue with gold trim, and he carries a staff most of the time. He, as I said, he really is seen himself.
What does he smell like?
Generally, as a necromancer, he smells of death.
Yes, is he?
This guy definitely smelled to death. It must be him.
Well, as I say,
gets around.
He has used this asylum that you traveled from as a ways and means of bringing creatures to this realm to do his bidding. These are vile, horrible things from other planes of existence. And
I can relate.
He took them and placed them into bodies of individuals that inhabit this realm and allowed them to infiltrate higher echelons of power. It is a dark undertaking, and it must be stopped before it is too late. This could lead to all-out war across all of the realms.
That's not good.
No, that's not great.
Norman, did he have anything to do with what happened to you and
just
going into that thing, or was that you?
No, just about to get onto that. So, as much as I'm loath, I say a bunch of like stuff and like primordial, like unhinge my jaw and like a bunch of like tentacles come out and like flap all over.
Nice.
Like, hold them back in, and I'm just like,
I'll just sniff myself.
yeah. As a vile and horrific creature from another realm, I do have some knowledge on these things. Is there a chance that this fellow was responsible for pulling me in here into this absolutely abysmal place to begin with?
As you do all of this, and as you say all of this, Dacius kind of is like, for a dragon, his face is quite expressive, and you look and you are kind of like, you see him kind of ever so slightly recoil and then recompose himself.
I do it again.
It's a norm to us.
You are not of this realm.
No, not even close.
And he kind of looks around. It's like,
how? Oh, Quval has messed up. How did you come to be here? How are you not doing his bidding?
Fucking beats me. I don't have a clue. I didn't want to be. I just kind of ended up here. Wasn't my first choice of destination.
What is your first memory of being in this realm?
Well, I try very hard to blot most of it out, but well, I think the first memory would be waking up in in some old person, some feeble little thing. That would have been the first memory.
Interesting. You see, you being here with your and as you did the thing with the kind of like the mouthpiece where the tentacles came out.
The Beetlejuice special.
The Beetlejuice special. That's when Dacius kind of was like, oof. Can you do me a favor? Roll a perception check for me. As you, this is just Norman, just to see if you notice something as you did this.
Sure. I don't think I noticed anything. That's a 5.
Fine. Okay, you didn't notice anything, but Dacius kind of like it kind of moves closer to you. Kind of, you see his giant head shift down, and kind of like moves in close. And he's like, "You are the key to this puzzle right now.
Ooh.
Your being and your existence on this plane is impossible, given that Quval is not in control of your mind.
I know, right?
Please.
Don't look like a key.
Come closer. And he kind of moves. You just see him move his arm out ever so slightly, the one that's manacled. And the chain goes chink and goes taut and stuff, but he just moves it closer to you. He's like, please move closer.
Oh no, don't do that.
Are you going to try and use it to open his locks?
Is that what you're going to try and do?
Your existence is, you are from a different realm. You exert energies. And it is what I need to unlock these bindings.
Are you sure there isn't a key on the wall that we could use? Maybe behind you or something?
You've never seen that happen before, but you see a kind of a slight smile spread across the dragon's face. It's like, there is no key. You are the key.
So his head is still like roughly on level with mine, right? Big old head.
His head is like his massive head. Like you're eclipsed by it. It's huge.
Yeah. I kind of like glance at the manacle, look up at him, beg.
So,
and
you will keep on saying, yeah. Okay.
I must You are a creature that has traveled between planes just as easily as one might stroll between rooms, it seems.
I did once.
I'm talking. If I do this, because I'm quite content to rot in here if this doesn't go my way. If I do this, you devote the entirety of your considerable resources to getting me off of this miserable little place. Or we all die in this cage. Sorry, Ogan.
I was, what's going on? I zoned out there for a sec. Are we getting out of here? I'm getting hungry.
Dacius kind of moves his head up a bit and kind of contemplates for a second. And kind of looks up at you and looks at the manacles and looks around the cave. And then you see his head move closer in again to you.
I give you my word that I will get you home.
I haven't begged yet.
Yeah, you haven't said please. Say please.
I give you my word I will get you home. If you will please help me remove my bindings.
Could be better.
Well, no points for style, but I suppose I'll allow it. Right, what do I do?
I need you to stand next to my arm here.
And he gestures out. You see him move up the manacle on his right hand, as close as he can get it to you.
And I need you to... I take it from the aura you're giving off, you are a magic user of sorts.
Of sorts.
I need you to cast a spell. Any spell. Not even the direction of the manacles, just be next to it as you do it.
Very well. Okay, I stand... Hang on, I need to pick a good one.
Bee!
Yeah.
It better be comparable to Tiny Hood.
The bee!
No, it's not time for the bee.
No!
The bee I need to save. I stand next to the manacle, and I cast Mage Hand, and I make my big glowy green hand, and it flips him off.
Ogan, you look as you see Norman move forward, and he kind of like gestures ever so wildly, and then boom, this giant green glowing gaseous looking middle finger just drifts into existence and just wafts up in front of the manacle and then up into Dacius Trevelyan's face. And as you're looking, the manacle starts to glow and twist and turn, and these arcane symbols that are the arcane symbols that are embossed on it start to glow ever so slightly. Oh, my camera fell over.
Oh.
Yep.
That was some powerful spell.
Some powerful flip.
It was.
It knocked Wayne's camera over. We're reflecting really.
The manacles twist and turn like they seem to revolve within themselves. Dacius kind of starts to kind of close his eyes. You hear this like low grumbling mutter as if he's chanting. And then they go silent. The purple glow from the manacles fades and they go dead and start to crack and go grey. And they drop from his hand. There's a large clink. And as they just fall into pieces in front of you. And he kind of reaches up and looks at his clawed hand and then looks down at you and then kind of flexes.
Like flexes?
Like flexes.
Look at my big yes, I am free. Look at my big dragon gains.
Even in the cave, I got swole.
This is the treasure right here.
The only thing I've had to do in this cave is pump iron for centuries.
And he kind of, as he kind of takes him a second, you see this, his eyes are wide as he's able to move his hand higher than he's ever been able to move it in the last 200 plus years. And he kind of, as he's doing this, he absentmindedly reaches out with with his left hand and left arm, and he kind of gestures as if to do it again.
Wayne.
Yeah.
Ogan wants to help. Even though I don't know if he can, but he just thinks it's a game, so I'm going to cast Produce Flame. And hope that it can do it too.
Are you just off to the side doing this, are you?
Yeah, I'm helping.
So there's like a glow of flame. Ogan is just there, like, creating these little orbs of light, just producing this flame, like as if he's dancing to some unheard rave song.
Norman,
I'm helping.
very good. That's really good, Ogan. Yes.
Is it working? I can't do the flippy off thing, but I've done a ball.
Now,
and it's fire.
Does Norman want to continue to do this?
So is that enough, or do you need more? Or
I need to remove at least my 2 front manacles. I should be able to do the rest myself because I can feel my energy returning.
Yeah, fine. Just those 2. This time, I go over to the other manacle, and yeah, I cast Mage Hand again, but this time I get the finger and I put it up his nose.
So the green gaseous hand appears and it's like vroom, the finger just drifts across the left manacle and then just straight up into the nostril of the dragon, who kind of recoils ever so slightly as the mage hand embeds itself and then in a kind of a gaseous spray of green, stinky. You would imagine to be quite a smelly kind of mage hand, even though
it reeks.
It reeks.
Really embodying that teenage energy there.
Full on.
Yeah, exactly. He's a rambunctious teen now. This is what he does. He's going to start skateboarding and hanging out with girls.
Kind of, for the sake of brevity, then we'll see Dacius kind of like, you see him reach up. The same thing happens with the manacle, drops, cracks into 1,000 pieces, and he's there with both freed hands, flexing his fingers back and forth, kind of uncurling the claws. And in a flurry of bright energy, you see his 2 front claws turn and rip at the manacles on his wings, and he just tears at them and kind of grinds his nails into them, and there's a bright flash of energy as he pulls them from his body. He then reaches up to his neck, and there's an even brighter flash as he strains and is growling, as you can see sparks emanating from the side of his mouth. His eyes start to flicker with blue lightning. It's starting to become quite powerful as the 2 of you below him kind of are forced to kind of move back and cover your eyes as it gets brighter and brighter. There is lightning kind of crackling over his form as he reefs the kind of the choker around his neck and tears it. As it splinters into 1,000 pieces, he throws the remnants of it to the ground. Finally pulling off the shackles on his legs, back legs, and his tail, he stands and twirls and kind of tries to push himself up through his huge form, but still within the confines of this ginormous cave. And he lets out this deafening he kind of stomps around. He's like, he looks down and he kind of composes himself and looks down at the both of you. I am in your debt.
And don't forget it.
I will not.
Don't owe me a thing.
As you notice, as he moves around there, the crackling energy just seems to roll off him. It seems to be constantly there. He kind of gestures with one talon and slices down in the air, and this huge tear appears, crackling with energy, and he kind of reefs it open as you see this huge portal open up in front of you, and he reaches down in one fell swoop, goes and grabs at the both of you and lifts you up. If you wish to stop him or try and get out of the way, you can roll a dexterity saving throw with a disadvantage because he is quite large and very fast.
Now, Norman loves going through portals.
Yeah.
It's like my favorite thing. I keep saying it.
He picks both of you up and launches himself through the portal in a blinding flash of crack of energy and light. as you feel yourselves being pulled and torn asunder as you travel through the crackling energy all around your body. And we will cut back to the other group.
Okay.
The three of you were being led through the caves. You come out of a very short tunnel into a much larger opening area where you see a large collection of makeshift tents and dwellings.
Not as nice as my tent.
Not as nice as the
No, it's not.
of Loran's tiny hut.
Although this looks like a battle camp.
And that is exactly what it looks like. It looks like this is a kind of a large militia have formed within this cave structure. As you look around, you take in the sight. They're all wearing these makeshift cloaks, but all of them seem to be adorned with the brooch, which, upon closer inspections to the one that Loran is carrying, and the other two of you have pinned on your tunics, it looks like a set of hands that are intertwined around this green gem. It looks handmade. The artistry isn't brilliant, but it's clear to what it is. Very rushed. And the metals that were used to make it seem to be intermixed. Like the mix of metals is like hints of copper and kind of bright silverish metal strewn throughout it. These are cheaply made trinkets, but the gem in the center is bright and glowing. And everyone seems to be wearing these somewhere on their person, be it kind of strapped underneath their cloak or on their armor as they walk around. Gora leads you through the camp, and some people look up and kind of see this group of people traveling through their camp and kind of give you a curious look. Some don't pay you any heed at all whatsoever. He walks you through, intertwined, and there's no real structure to this. They're just tense, higgledy-piggledy throughout the thing. But there is a pathway that he leads you through. As you come to a larger tent at the end of a corridor within the cave, and there seems to be a larger tent with a couple of guards posted outside of it. There is talking from inside the tent as you hear kind of a deep growling voice, slightly feminine, but a growling voice none the same. And the two guards...
Are they all humans?
It's a mixed they're mixed races, so you're seeing everything. It's a smorgasbord of races here. There are humans, there are dragonborn, there are tieflings, there are drow, there are elves, there are dwarves. It's a mixed bag. The group of people that brought you here were also mixed. They weren't all human, they weren't all male. They were female, they were male. Some you couldn't tell their gender because of the race that they were. It was a smorgasbord of individuals. There is one common thread amongst all of them, that they all seem hardy of sorts, but they all also seem quite haggard. As you look around and you get more of an intake of Gore and the people that surround you, they all have sunken eyes. There is a kind of a taunt look to the skin on their faces. They look haggard and worn.
They look hanging around the Lewis stop on Abbey Street.
Pretty much, yeah, pretty much. Without the like, gives a $5 for a bottle of milk, will you? There's none of that. All right. Okay. So, you are brought forward towards this tent at the end of this collection of dwellings. And as you're there, you notice there are two guards stationed at the front, and you can hear voices from inside. Gore kind of motions to the guards and motions to yourselves, please wait here. And he makes his way inside. He's gone about 2-3 minutes, and you're kind of left standing there looking around, and the guards are kind of stoic faces, just looking ahead of them. Every now and again they give you a glance and then just keep looking ahead. Both of them have kind of like long spears. They're wearing a mishmash of leather armor. One of them has mail under. You can see that they have chainmail underneath, but it's very higgledy-piggledy. It's not. They don't seem like to be well supplied. A lot of this stuff looks like it's very handmade. The cloaks are worn and dark material, but they also have the brooches on them as well. Gorn reappears, sweeping open the tent covering, and gestures the three of you inside. The group make their way in, and inside the tent you're met with the image of a group of individuals standing around a long table.
Sorry, Wayne, just to clarify, they haven't taken our weapons at any point.
They haven't taken anything at all. You see this large group of people crowded around the table. The table is open facing you, and they all seem to be on the far side of it. At the center of these individuals, who are all wearing their cloaks, or all wearing mishmash of armor, or of all different races, you see in the center, you see this large, imposing, even with her gaunt features, female dragonborn, who immediately gives off the aura that she is the leader. She is pointing and talking and giving orders and gesturing to the individuals around the table. You look and you see around the table, you see a dwarf, you see a furbolg, there's a drow male, a female elf, a wood elf of pale complexion. They're all of different stature. They all seem to be of different bearing, but they're all clothed in the same type of cloak and mishmash of armor with the brooch on the side. The dragonborn, kind of as she's gesturing and talking and giving orders, she looks up as the three of you enter and finishes what she's saying and pounds her fist on the table. And it's like, you have your orders, you have your assignments. Go about your business and report back to me at the day's end. And they all bow and make their way out. She looks up and gestures for the three of you to come forward and moves away from the table off to the side where there's a small kind of dresser table where there's like a carafe and it seems to be filled with water, and she kind of pours herself a glass and takes a sip. Or you see her tongue flick out from between her teeth as she takes the sip into the glass, and gestures towards a collection of chairs that are higgledy-piggledy about the tent. Please, take a seat if you wish.
I'm okay standing, thank you.
I'll stay standing too.
I'll have a sit.
Loran sits down. I'm sure you have many questions and are worried why we brought you here under these pretenses and against, seemingly, from what Gore tells me, against some of your wills. I will be brief, and I will try to keep this as informative as possible. My name is Abigail Hemlock. I am the leader of these people. We call ourselves the Lost. We were the former inmates of the Black Asylum.
Ooh, okay.
We managed to escape that dreaded hellhole and our tormentors under much duress, and we lost many. We bring you here.
Escaped lunatics.
She kind of looks at you, and when you say the word lunatic, you can see that she visibly kind of twitches ever so slightly.
Oh God, Loran.
We
just trust a bunch of people who escaped an asylum.
Depends how they got there.
We were prisoners, and I will explain and hopefully calm any worries you may have about our mental stability. I myself was ripped from my own home, which is far from here. I am not from your realm. I am not even from this plane of existence. The land I inhabited was part of a city, was part of a continent. The city I am from, as far as I'm aware, it still stands, was the city of Jorhas, in the continent of Wildmount.
Oh, bitch.
When you said Hemlock, I was like, ding.
Yeah,
Yeah, we know stuff.
I know her.
I am the leader of these people, not by choice. We were all taken from our homes. We were all ripped from our planes of existence. Gore here is from a town, a city, he tells me, called Baldur's Gate, a realm of much chaos, but also people who rule and deal with things that are done in a civilized way. We have no choice but to fight against our oppressors and escape these people that have ripped us from our homes. We were taken and brought to this place of the Black Asylum,
by our captors and studied and prodded and experimented on. One of these experiments they tried to do against me, and I resisted. My latent magic abilities allowed me to stop them from implanting something in my mind. A creature of vile existence. During this experiment, I managed to break free, and I killed one of my assailants as such. Discovering that they were not what they seemed to be, we thought them to be some form of dark scientist and necromancy of some sort, but they turned out to be something far worse. Creatures that we are known and seem to be known across all realms as mind flayers. These horrible, dark beings seek to subjugate and control individuals using dark magics for their own end and for their hive mind end. But I on that evening managed to escape their dark machinations and experiments and caused quite the stir within the asylum, leading to what would be the start of a riot and a rebellion against them. We managed to find our way into one of their laboratories. Our numbers great, way greater than they could ever imagine to fight against, and found our way to what we discovered was a portal that led us here, where we recuperated and tended to our wounded. We have been here for nearly 50 years.
Oh, man.
Rebuilding, equipping ourselves, at times infiltrating the Black Asylum to a point where we managed to capture and kill many of these creatures, putting an end to their experiments. So, you must understand, when we discovered you there, because we have the asylum alarmed in ways that would allow us to be notified of anyone entering its doors from the outside. We had previously dealt with an individual who was quite vile and managed to either kill or capture a lot of our people. He was a charming individual of such, with quite a substantial army of followers.
Hmm?
Huh?
What was that, Kim?
You have to finish that sentence quickly.
Yeah. He called himself Valak. He murdered and captured many of our number and took them with him back to his dwelling. So when we found that you had entered the Black Asylum, we feared he had returned. But clearly that is not the case.
Can I
No.
roll? Can I roll to see how well Aratir has taken on this information? Like, does she believe it?
Yeah, you can roll an insight check.
Ugh. Shit. 9.
9. As far as you can tell, she's telling the truth. There's no real... You're kind of like, okay, this seems to be on the up and up. You're not 100% sure, but you're as far as you can tell, she's on the up and up.
Okay. Well, I'm going to say in Draconic, I believe you.
She kind of turns her head ever so slightly and kind of gives a slight kind of twitch at the side of her toothy maw that you kind of interpret as a small smile.
Yeah. We, yes, we found our way to that lab while we were questing and investigating, and we saw firsthand the experiments and the impact of Valak. And I'm sorry that you were on the receiving end of that.
So, you had just asked Jill, or you just said that you believe Abigail Hemlock, and she kind of ever so slightly smiled in her draconian way. She's like, I thank you for your trust. We have had a long and arduous task trying to discover why we were brought here. And on our last venture to fight these creatures and vanquish the final group of them, we managed to capture one. And we have been questioning it for information about their dealings and why they are kidnapping people and torturing them and experimenting on them and using them as puppets.
Abigail, can I ask you a question?
You may.
It's been 50 years since you were in the asylum. Valak was in charge then. Was he the only head of the asylum?
Valak wasn't in charge. Valak came to the asylum to seek the denizens of it, to take them away, and we stopped him. He seemed to be interested in, if you came into the asylum, you're aware that it's surrounded by this red crystalline substance.
Yes. Yeah.
Valak had an interest
in it.
He came looking for that, and also anyone in the asylum, he took them with him if he didn't kill them, to grow his number.
So he wasn't the one that brought you through the portal to there, somebody else did?
We believe these creatures did, but we don't know why, and we've only after 50 years of fighting and dwindling their numbers, have we managed to capture one for questioning. Okay. But my question to you is, what brought you to the asylum?
We went through a portal. It was another companion of ours, a fellow adventurer, found out that that's where he had come from, and we came there in search of answers for him.
So your companion came from the asylum. He was one of us.
She's talking about the bestest friend in the whole world called Norman, and he's not from here, and he was just like put there by mistake, and now he's trying to get home, but he's not from there or here.
No.
So like us,
here.
Like ourselves, he was pulled from another plane of existence.
Yeah.
That's the understanding.
Very sad. Really, I feel like he's the main victim in all of this.
She kind of gives you a quizzical look, and she kind of looks down at you as you're sitting in the chair. It's like, I am sorry for your loss. He seemed to have been dear to you.
He was.
But he's dead now.
By the way, Valak was my ex-husband, so this is like a whole like mind fuck. Dead best friend, ex-husband. Poor, it's a doozy.
Dead ex-husband.
Dead ex-husband. All dead. Wow, yeah. It's not great, is it?
At the mention of Valak and the fact that you were once married, she kind of takes a step back and looks at Gore, and looks at Aratir and Kodeen, and then looks at you, and it's like, you were associated with Valak.
Many years ago.
Did you not catch the ex-husband bit?
I used to put it in his butt.
No, other way around.
You say...
I'm a bottom.
You were the bottom. Okay, he was the top. Okay,
yeah, obviously. I mean, come on.
Sure. I couldn't help but notice you say he was dead.
Yeah.
Actually, dead ex-husband killed by dead best friend.
Oh yeah, it's just a whole layer.
Yeah, it's a whole circle.
Obviously, she doesn't hear Ryan metagaming, so
Oh, sure.
so she's looking at Loran, completely confused and shocked, and he's kind of like this wave of emotions coming over her draconian face, dragonborn face. You're kind of going. She's so Valak is responsible for capturing and killing many of our people.
Yeah.
How? And she kind of looks at the trio in disbelief. How did you manage to kill him?
You remember my dead best friend, Norman, who's the real victim and everything? Well, he sort of half killed him, and I killed him then the rest of the way, because, well, Norman's very powerful and good.
From the corner where Gorn is standing, you kind of can't help but give a and you kind of Abigail kind of looks over them quickly and then looks back at you. Clearly you are more formidable than your outward appearance is.
Yes, I'm extremely tough and not to be trifled with.
Indeed. Yes. Right now, I just want to know, are you here for the elements of the asylum and the crystals, or are you here for answers?
Personally, neither. I would actually just not like to be involved. These two, probably.
I'm here for answers.
I'm here to help anyone overcome existential angst.
Believe me, there is a lot of angst in this camp. Well, might I invite whoever wishes to accompany us? We have the prisoner, and we are in the final stages of the questioning.
Yeah, I'll come along.
Excellent.
So is it just Aratir that's going to do this? Are you two going to stay here? Or like it's totally your choices, whatever you want to do.
It's been a really, really long day. Do you have any tents with like beds and stuff? Because I've spent my 2/3 level spells and can't summon another tiny hut.
We do have dwelling. We can give you bedding for the evening and allow you to rest. That is no problem at all. She kind of gestures towards Gore. You're kind of as he kind of leaning against a pole that was in the tent, kind of straightens up and kind of gestures to you. He's like, I'll show you the way over here.
Okay.
So Loran leaves with Gore to go get some kip. Leaves Aratir and Kodeen with Abigail, who then kind of gestures out of the tent as well and leads you off. As you look, you see Loran and Gore leave to the left and go off back into the encampment. And Abigail points off down another corridor. You see kind of a smaller alcove area and points off in that direction.
Mm-hmm.
We are going down here a short ways. Might I ask you a few more questions as we travel?
Sure.
A walk and talk as such. I am leading these people in battle against these forces that are dwindling, but I have a feeling this is not the bigger picture. There is more to this. We have gotten some answers from this creature, but his mind is closed to many of our abilities. If you feel you can persuade him to give you answers, please feel free to step in. I feel that I get a sense we are all of us together are on the same part for justice here. Myself, I just wish to go home, but I must help these people. It seems to be my lot in all of this. We are a small fighting force, but I feel there is a larger war at stake here. And as you're talking and she leads you down, you feel yourself going down deeper into the cave system. There are deeper underground. There are offshoots and small alcoves off to the left and right as you're traveling downwards. You hear the kind of the coldness is starting to seep in. Whereas the upper area where the main encampment was warm to a degree. You're going deeper into the cave system and it's getting colder and slightly darker. There are less kind of sconces on the wall with torches. And you can hear the distant drip, drip, drip of some cavernous area that is
filled with some form of liquid that seems to be dripping onto itself.
Yeah, enough about your mom. Back to the story.
Hey! You make your way down and you find yourself in this open area with this large nondescript tent of dark material. You see at least 10 guards around this general area, all standing at as close to attention as they can, all trained upon the tent. Abigail kind of leads the way forward and nods to each of the guards who kind of nod in return. You see again, it's a mixed mash of races. There's elves, tieflings, a firbolg, a human. There's one dwarf, and you see a goblin who is kind of standing close to the tent. And the goblin seems to be adorned with multiple knives across their bodice.
Yeah.
And they have their hood up, and again, they're all adorned with the makeshift gem and with the clasped hands around them. Abigail kind of pushes the flap of the tent away and kind of leads in and holds it open for you all to enter. As you enter into this tent that is in pitch darkness, the two of you have dark vision, don't you?
Yep.
Yeah. So you do make out the innards of the tent. You can see, but there's no light in here. There is a large cage in the center of the tent, and it's giving off an arcane energy like a hum. You don't sense the energy itself, but you can hear the hum, and it's glowing ever so slightly. The only light that seems to be in this entire area is coming from the general cage, and it's kind of like a dull, very muted blue, silvery color. Within the cage, on their knees, stripped bare, bar a loincloth, looks like it's been beaten to fuck, is this figure. Strapped around its neck and covering its head, its arms are tied behind its back, its head is down, but around its head seems to be another cage. But it stretches out, it kind of clasps around their neck and then stretches outwards and is a large box. And inside the box are these pointed, what look like miniature spears or needles, all pressing against the head and face of this creature. This is also giving off an arcane glow. As you step in, the creature kind of weakly lifts its head, and just at the edge of your perception, at the edge of your mind, you start to hear whisperings, and and the feeling that something is trying to just very gently push its way into your mind. You see in front of you a mind flayer. Its tentacled face, its tentacles, it's just like quivering and very meekly and weakly at the bottom of its jowls. You don't see a mouth because the tentacles overlap the bottom of its jaw. It's two slits where its nose should be. Its almond-shaped eyes, all beaten and bruised, one bulging, is looking up at you. It's bloodied, it's cut on its face. It kind of looks around, and you can feel the prodding ever so slightly. And that is where we're going to take a break. We're going to take a break. We're going to do the giveaway prizes after we come back from the break. I will say this, we do have a prize for this episode. I didn't mention it at the start. Thanks to Dublin City Comics, we have another prize. And of course, it's in transit. It's on its way. But we have the brand new, from Dark Horse Comics, we have the Critical Role Guide to Exandria. I'm going to just do this.
Oh. The artwork of Exandria?
Yeah, the artwork book of Exandria. That is the prize for this month's episode. All thanks to Dublin City Comics for their sponsorship and their ongoing sponsorship. That is in transit to me at the moment, so I will have it soon. But that will be the prize. I'll do it again.
Ding.
That is the prize for this episode, okay? And we will give you the question for that prize. When we come back from the break, we will give you the question that you need to answer. We will also announce the winners of our two prizes, which has arrived from Dublin City Comics, Baldur's Gate Guide to Descent into Avernus. We will be telling you who won this. And also as a bonus prize, thanks to the Critical Role store sending me two of these, and I only ordered one, we have the Orphan Maker T-shirt of the character of Yasha. This glows in the dark. It's fucking awesome.
Oh, nice.
Lars says we'll be giving away that as well to the entrance. We have loads of people entered, so thank you so much for everyone that entered. So we're going to take a break. We're going to get some food, pee break, and all that malarkey, and we will see you here very, very shortly for the question for this month's prize, which is the.
Where is it?
It's posted
invisible
magic, and then we will announce the winners of these 2 prizes as well after the break. Thank you so much for watching so far. We hope you've enjoyed it. It's been full roleplay malarkey.
Always good.
And we will see you folks after the break. Welcome back. After the break there, folks, we went off, got a bit of food, and now we are back. We are going to do the giveaway. We have 2 prizes. We have the Critical Role Yasha Glow in the Dark Orphan Maker T-shirt, and we have the Baldur's Gate Descent into Avernus source book. So we're going to basically do the usual thing. We have all the names listed here, and it's listed from 1 to 10. And I am going to get somebody to roll a D10 and then give me the number. Naomi, can you roll a D10 for me, please?
Sure can.
And this is for the Orphan Maker T-shirt. We're going to give this away first.
10.
10. Right down the end, we have Scott Langton. Scott Langton is the winner. Congratulations, Scott.
Congratulations,
Oh, it's
Scott.
Skit. Yeah.
It's Skit. That's right.
Skit. So, Scott Langton, he is the winner of the Orphan Maker T-shirt. We will be in contact with you, Scott, to get your details off you. We will put this in the post to you. Next up, we have the whoop.
We have a fall.
My camera fell over. Okay, we're going to keep that in. That's impressive.
Okay.
You rolled a 1, Wayne.
That was a good angle.
It was a good angle. It was like up my nose angle.
That's what we want. That's what the people want.
That's some good crystal maze.
Or navel hair.
It was like. Anyway, now it's leaning now, so it can't. It's not going to. Right. So next up, we have the Baldur's Gate Descent into Avernus. So the answer for the first question was for the T-shirt was, what is the name of the actress who portrays Yasha in Critical Role? And that is, of course, Ashley Johnson. Everyone would know her from playing the likes of The Last of Us and The Last of Us 2, which is fucking phenomenal. Next up, we have the source book, and the question for this one was, what is the header? So where is the setting for the Descent into Avernus? So it's Baldur's Gate, which is in the title of the source book. So another D10 there, please, Naomi.
Wait, roll the other one.
No. 6.
6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have a Philip Gibb. Philip Gibb is the winner of the Baldur's Gate Descent into Avernus. Congratulations, Philip. This is yours, and we will get it in the post to you ASAP. We will reach out to both of those winners. Congratulations. And we will get your details off you, and we will send this out to you in the post as soon as possible. Now, for this month's giveaway, we have a copy of this. Ding! Ding! So it's the Critical Role art book. So it's basically the Critical Role Guide to Exandria, but it's the art book. So all the fan art from a lot of the critters and some phenomenal artists within the community of Critical Role, and under the tutelage of, I think it was Liam O'Brien and Talazar Jaffe, they put this book together of all the fan art. So it's a phenomenal tome. So I could do it again. I have a copy on order, so with Dublin City Comics. And again, thank you to Dublin City Comics for their sponsorship, their ongoing sponsorship, while we do this mental endeavor of us playing Dungeons & Dragons. They are responsible for giving us all of these prizes, obviously bar the Critical Role t-shirt, but the source books that they've been supplying us with is directly from them, so do check them out. The store is back open now. They are maintaining social distancing within the store. You can also do online sales through DublinCityComics.com, but their shop is open, so do go in. And they will practice social distancing within the store. They've got clear markings, there's hand sanitizers. They're doing a great job in there.
They look after you.
They do. They look after you. So fair play to them. And thank you again, folks, there for looking after us and helping us out with these source books for these prizes and giveaways. So for thanks to Dublin City Comics, we have this month's giveaway thing of the Critical Role book. So the question for this month, because we introduced Mind Flayers into the story for this episode, I want you, the viewers, to tell us, Mind Flayers, what is the other name for Mind Flayers? They have an official name that isn't Mind Flayers. Mind Flayers is like the common name for them. So we want to know what the official name is for Mind Flayers. So write your answer down below in the comments. And don't forget, you have to share the video on social media, tagging Irish Pubcast in order to be entered into the competition. So what is the official name for Mind Flayers? Put it in the comments below. And then share either on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, whatever. Share the video and tag Irish Pubcast so we know.
What happens when you put one into a Smurf Neblin?
What happens when you put it into Smurf level? And yeah. But yeah, what's the official name for Mind Flayers? Thank you very much. So, without further ado, we are going to dive back into this month's episodes. Yeah. So, we left off where we're going to basically jump back now, because we left you guys with the Mind Flayer in the cage. We're going to jump back to Norman and Ogan, who, where last we left them, they were in the grasp of the Gargantuan dragon that is Dacius Trevelyan and jumping through a portal to an unknown destination. You feel the kind of the pulling sensation on your innards, and Norman, you feel it even more so because this is just a fresh body, so it's like you're still getting used to it. And there's a tug and a squeeze as you're pushed through this kind of tear in reality as you appear out, and you feel this rushing of wind and the whistling through your ears as your eyes adjust to the bright light of coming out the other side of this portal, and you hear the beating of a dragon's wings. As you look down, your eyes focus on what looks like what was once green fields, and stretching as far as the eye can see, you now see fields that have pot marks all over them, mud, dirt, chunks of the earth are ripped out. There are bodies everywhere. There's a trail of bodies all strewn across what seems to be a battlefield.
Where are you taking us?
All you can hear is the whistling of the wind, and you look around, you start to take in your surroundings as you hear the booming voice of Dacius Trevelyan. I have brought you across the realm, back to where this all started for you. And as you look down and across into the horizon, you see the spires, the familiar spires of Terrace Mur breaking the distance as the dragon swoops down through the sky. The ground below you coming closer. You can hear not so much the large din of battle, but you hear the large din of people shouting and screaming as they've just seen this huge silver dragon appear out of thin air through a tear in reality as it swoops down over the city and circles around. There are screaming. You can see people running on battlements. You see the guards, the city guards are rushing back and forth. You see people pointing. There's archers all knocking their bows and aiming it to the sky. You hear people screaming. It's just pure chaos below you as the dragon kind of circles around and starts kind of looking for a place to land. You are tight within its grasp, each of you in one of its four hands. And so right hand is Ogan, and the left hand is Norman. The dragon kind of, you see it kind of circle and move across, and every now and again you hear the shout of like a quizzical shout of a guard, do we open fire? Do we open fire? Hold, it's not attacking, it's not attacking. And as like this, the size of Dacius, the shadow over the city is immense. Like Terrace Mur is a vast city, but his size, the shadow he's casting, covers like multiple sections as he flies over. He seems to be looking around for a place to land, and as he pulls off then away from the city, because there doesn't seem to be anywhere for him to set down, he aims for you see the dragon aim and downwards towards the outside of the gates as he kind of trundles down, holding up his two front arms so you two don't get squashed as he lands. He kind of lands on his hunkers down on his hind legs, using his tail to keep balance. He flaps his wings and then slowly but surely drops down and drops each of you as you tumble and roll out He kind of is looking around. The gates firmly closed. The battlements are now filled with archers. The two of you tumble out in front. Pick yourself up off the ground. You now find yourself back at the gates of Terrace-Moor.
3-star rating, very fast. Didn't like the driver.
At least we got a warm welcome home. Like,
yeah. What's being pointed at us?
You just see a line of archers on the wall above this particular gate, because if you remember, there are multiple gates along the city, and the gate that you've landed in front of is barred shut. As you look around, you see there is debris everywhere. There seems to have been a battle here at some point very recently. There are bodies still on the ground. It's thick with mud and different coloured bodily fluids of such. Something has happened here recently. It's not the Terrace-Moor you left behind, because the last time you were here, it was a party. And there, as far as the eye can see, there were tents and revelers all outside the city. Now it's completely changed.
Something's happened in the space of time we were away. But I think they're pointing arrows at us, or maybe the dragon guy. Actually, no, it's the dragon guy. We're okay.
Yeah. You can have him. It's fine. We're good.
As you are kind of looking up and talking at the guards on the battlements, you hear this large kind of like whooshing sound and a crackle of energy behind you, and this wind kind of comes from behind, seems to kind of stagger you a bit ever so slightly, and you turn, and standing before you is the unassuming form that you are familiar with of Dacius Trevelyan as you first met him.
Oh, it's you!
Boo! He's a witch! Get him! Shoot him!
Shall we burn her?
Does she weigh more than a duck? You see him stride forward and kind of looking at you both unassumingly, and kind of gestures to follow as he makes his way towards the city gate. He kind of motions up at the battlements, and he's like, I am here to see King Gregor. What do the two of you want to do?
This seems an awfully roundabout way of getting me home.
It
is very dramatic.
He kind of looks, he's like, I will get you home. This is part of what we need to do in order to get you home.
He never actually gave you a time.
Don't stretch it out.
Oh, okay, just to let you know.
He kind of turns to you. He's like, and it seems it seems a more stable version of the Dacius that you were used to, because the other versions were more frantic. There was always something about them, like they were basically fractured in some way. So he kind of turns on both, and he's like, we have a task to undertake here that is part of the overall plan to get you back to where you belong. We must undertake this task in order to put the gears in motion to get you back to where you belong. So I must ask you to follow me, and if I need you to step in, please do.
I'm good at doing that. I've been doing that a while, so yeah, lead the way.
We must see Arduin Carrick the Black. He is the... have you met him at any point in your travels? You came from here.
Have we heard of his name?
This is the Viceroy that you dealt with when you were in Terrace-Moor. He sent you to...
Ah, yes, the Viceroy.
Yeah, he sent you to Breston to investigate the rumours about Breston.
His name rings a bell. Viceroy guy, yeah.
Dacius gestures towards the guards in the parapet. He's like, I come in peace. I am here to speak to the Viceroy. You may take me into your charge if you wish, but we must enter. On this,
yeah.
one second, I'm going to roll for him. There's a natural 19. You see shuffling on the parapets as the guards kind of move amongst themselves. And after about 5 or 10 minutes, the doors kind of creak, and you hear like a shifting of stuff behind the doors, like as if they're moving barricades and large debris from behind to keep it barred. And the door kind of creaks open ever so slightly. And kind of an array of guards, a small platoon of guards, make their way out, kind of jostling around you and forming a circle. The doors then begin to creak open further to make a larger opening. What looks like a captain steps forward. Her armor seems to be worn and has had a few dints in it. All of the guards, because if you remember, all the guards in the city are female. They all kind of level their swords or spears at the group, and the captain moves forward. Like, we will take you inside, but be warned, we will be watching every move you make. The city has been under siege and has only recently fought off its attackers. We are being very cautious.
What have you been attacked with?
She kind of doesn't pay any attention to you. She's addressing directly to Dacius.
I'll speak up a little bit and go, what have you been attacked with? Just in case they might not hear me.
As she kind of looks down, she notices, she looks like, because all to her, you just look like an animal. So she looks down at you and she's like, creatures. Twisted creatures. Some of them taking the form of people that lived in this city, but they weren't them. They were different, infected somehow. It seems to stem from what happened to Breshton. She gestures the three of you forward, and the guards move in, and you're kind of ushered in through the door. And as you're making your way in through the doors are shut closed, and barricades are put back up. You're led through the streets, and as you're led through the streets, you look around, and what you see is basically, as she said, it's been a city under siege. The inhabitants, when you last saw them, were in full revelry, but now they look downtrodden, hungry. Some people are just sitting on the streets wearing rags for clothes. There are bodies around the place, some of them of town's guards, some of them of people. They're being moved, put onto carts, and moved kind of off to one side, heading down a different section of the city. You're led up through the streets, and as you go, the people give you a wide berth because they see the guard around you. Dacius is kind of taking all of this in and is looking back at the two of you every now and again.
Looks about as nice as I remember.
I think there's more dead bodies this time.
There are.
Not good.
Well.
In fact, no, this place looks way worse than last time.
I'll take your word for it, I suppose.
As you're walking along, you're talking amongst yourselves, and you're brought deep into kind of the depths of this part of the city, and up to a building that you recognize, and it's the Viceroy's building that you were at previously, where the banquet was. But again, it looks so different now. Barricades are up around it. There's guards everywhere. The main door is barricaded in. And on either side, the barricade has been moved, but it is kind of leading into like there's kind of like not so much stockades, but there is spikes and large wooden poles jutting out. This is set up as a defensive area, very much a last line of defense. There are people streaming in and out of the building, some looking very important, some carrying large heaps of scrolls, maps, books. There are guards milling back and forth of different levels. You see captains, you see lieutenants, you see everyday town's guard, city's guard. You're brought in through the bustling crowd as they're moving back and forth, and straight through. As you get in, when you last remember this place, it was a banquet hall. Now it looks like a main staging area for war. There are where banquet tables are now cleared off and set up in sections, and you have large clumps of soldiers all been barked at by superior officers who are giving them orders, pointing at large maps on walls, maps that pretty much envelop certain sections of the city. Dacius turns to you and is like, has this been like this since I've been gone, or is this recent? And he's kind of looking at both of you, and he's looking at the guards for anything for answers. It's like,
How long has it been like this?
Well, when we were last here, there was a party going on. We had to wear nice clothes. Okay, technically I'm still wearing clothes.
Yeah, they're not.
But yeah,
Exactly.
we had to. We went to a party and drank loads of food and everything was clean. I think
It did go quite badly at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But not this badly, from what I remember.
No. Marginally less badly.
The guard the captain of the guard kind of looks back at the two of you and kind of as if it's a half recognition on her face, and she's like, "Yes, the banquet that was close to 8 months ago now. At the beginning of all of this."
Well, that was 2 of them, wasn't it?
And she kind of looks a bit puzzled. It's like, "I don't know where you've been, but things have definitely changed around here." You're brought back up through the entranceway at the back of the where those chairs were, where the viceroy sat during the banquet. The chairs are gone now. It's a straight open through a doorway and into the back of the area. You're brought in to a room that has been completely changed from what the viceroy's office was. And you see this large table, again, filled with maps and scrolls, and on the wall, then there's a large map of Terrace Moor. And standing there, kind of looking around and talking to individuals, flanked by the head of the guards, city guards, is that imposing female Goliath that you saw when you first entered first entered the banquet many months ago. You see this imposing character standing quite close to the viceroy, kind of eyeing up the entire room. And as soon as you are all brought in, her attention is drawn straight to you as you enter. You are kind of brought around, and the captain gestures for you to stand back and makes her way up to where the viceroy is standing, kind of looking over maps and pointing and talking to his advisors around him. The head of the guards basically has not taken her eyes off you as soon as you entered. She's just staring three individuals down. The
Wave.
captain, yeah. Oh, you wave.
I was
Okay.
gonna wave. Right, like
the captain of the guard. The captain of the guard goes up into the viceroy and explains. But you see the kind of the nod, the bow, and the kind of the click of the heel, and the viceroy kind of looks up, and as she's speaking, he kind of looks over, and his eyes, he can't help but there's a bit of a surprise on his face, and he's taken aback, and he kind of falters a wee bit, and then looks. You see him kind of half look back over his shoulder at the head of the guards. And then kind of nods and waves at the captain of the guards. Looks over at Dacius for a while, for a minute or two, and then looks at both of your faces and kind of is puzzled. He then kind of speaks to 2 advisors to his right, and they kind of gesture at the rest of them, and they clear the room, leaving the 3 of you, himself, and the head of the town, the city's guards. He kind of moves forward. He's like, "I'm surprised to see you here, Trevelyan. I'm even more surprised to see these 2 traitorous bastards with you."
what?
For the record, you've never seen me before.
That's a fair
true,
point.
actually. He hasn't seen the elf before. He only recognizes Ogan.
A bit rude.
Yeah.
I've never even been here. How dare you?
I don't know who this individual is. I'll retcon that one, because in my head I'm still thinking Norman.
Yeah.
Yeah. He looks at the young elf. He's like, "I don't know who this is, but this traitorous little creature."
What you on about, traitor? We sorted that plant problem.
Really? Well, you've sorted the plant problem, really. That's interesting to hear, considering we've been laid to siege after the fall of Breshton. No thanks to your lack of efforts. All of this is because of you and your companions. All of it. You were sent to find out what the problem was, and you could have warned us. But we have fallen to this calamity because of your actions.
At this point, Dacius kind of perks up and was like,
might I add, you may think you know who I am, but I am at a loss for you. You see, you've met one of my proxies per se, but you haven't met me. I am the real deal, the definite article, you might say, of the Dacius Trevelyan. So, if you wouldn't mind explaining to myself and my companions what all of this is, we would appreciate it. The Viceroy looks pissed. He looks really pissed. I'm gonna just 1 second. Can both of you roll perception for me, please?
Yeah. Oh, cool. That's better than what I normally get. As I knocked stuff off the table.
And Norman, you can roll with advantage actually in this situation.
Oh,
I got a 21.
Ooh.
no, that's worse.
Okay. So what did you get?
My highest was a 10.
10. Okay. Both of you, and Norman, actually, you kind of sense something extra on this one, but Ogan, you noticed that, particularly with that high roll, you noticed that the Viceroy, as far as you remember, there seems to be something off about him at this point. He's not being fully honest, and he's giving every now and again when he's talking, he's giving a sideways glance to the head of the guards, who's moving, kind of shifting again behind him and staying very close to him at all times. Norman, what you sense there is an arcane energy in the room, kind of emanating off the Viceroy. And you don't remember when you were here the last time that was the case. You don't remember him being of that high a level of, you were aware that he was a magic user, but this particular level of energy that's coming off him is throwing you ever so slightly. And you kind of sense that Dacius is feeling it as well, hence the reason for him kind of asking the questions that he's asking. The Viceroy kind of looks at the three of you and is like, what brings you here now? Why now?
Well, he did.
Yeah, the dragon did. He brought us here. I don't know why now, because
he's being awfully cryptic. Ask him.
As soon as you say the dragon did, the look on the Viceroy's face is one of pure horror. He can't hide it. He's just thrown for it. Because the word hadn't reached him yet.
Oh.
The captain of the guard, somehow, unbeknownst to you, failed to mention that Dacius was a dragon. And you look and you see a smile appear on Dacius's face. It's like, yes, I was wondering if that piece of information was going to let slip. I seem to have charmed your captain of the guards, but my colleagues here are ones for speaking their minds.
Oh, we weren't meant to say?
I'm just so tired of all this bullshit. He's a dragon. He brought us here. Ask him. We have a task, apparently. I don't fucking know.
I'm kind of curious as to why this is all our fault.
The Viceroy at this point...
Yeah, fuck you.
The Viceroy at this point storms out of the room. He basically pushes past you and quickly storms out of the room, heading back down the corridor, out into the large open area.
Hey, that's Teen Norman's move. How rude.
Yeah, we're the ones who storm out when we don't get our way. How dare he?
Followed closely behind by the head of the guards, who seems to be trying to keep you at a distance with her large mask, kind of keeping you behind the Viceroy as he storms out into the main area. He makes his way out and in a large booming voice declares to the rooms like, please form up on the council. We need the council immediately. We have an immediate situation the council must address. His booming voice kind of reaches out into the hallway, into the hall, and a lot of people kind of start to shift about, and you hear shouts from individuals saying, council members. Few individuals start to make their way forward through the bustle, And you two, you recognize at least two of these individuals.
The gnomes?
No.
Become the council.
One is who you thought was the tailor that accompanied you to the banquet of the name of Swift.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's cool cat.
Swift kind of very quickly makes his way through the crowd deftly and appears standing in front of you, followed closely behind the tabaxi female, who you remember as Claw of the Sky, who's the representative from Henrik's point. She also stands up and moves forward and next to Swift. There are a few other council members that make their way forward. A dwarf, a half-orc. Roll a history check for me for a second, please. Both of you.
Okay.
See if you remember this.
That's done off intelligence.
For
20, but not a nat.
Okay. History check is done off in intelligence, yes. Ogan has a +0 modifier, so whatever you roll.
Yeah, I just got 12.
Well, Norman, what did you get?
20.
Norman, you recognize the half-orc as being... I'm trying to remember back who accompanied Stinky Talazar to get his pole made.
Oh, yeah.
But
that ogre?
But the half-orc is one Thorin Axeblood, who steps forward, his imposing figure, towering over.
Yeah.
He seems to be now adorned with heavy armor, and carrying and draped at his side are two large hand axes. He has a long billowing crimson cloak draping off his left side. He steps forward. The three council and the other council member is a dwarf, a human male, and then a female elf. All move forward. These 6 members kind of move forward, and seats are produced and a space is cleared. The viceroy kind of stands in the center and then turns and points accusingly at Dacius Trevelyan, and in turn then at the both of you, bellowing at the council, saying, "These individuals are the reason we are in the situation we find ourselves in. These individuals caused the fall of Breshton and the attack on this city by this red, evil menace.
Well, that's just clearly not true.
They must stand for their crimes. And it is down to the council to decide their punishment." And we're going to cut back to the other tree.
Okay.
Now, so you all find yourselves in this tent with a mind flayer, chained and caged.
Yeah.
You're in bed. Sorry, the two. You're in bed having a kip. Apologies if you went off and had a bit of a sleep. You two find yourself in this tent. Within this cage, you find a mind flayer, who seems to also have this cage with these horrible, wicked-looking barbs that are sticking into their head.
Do we recognize a mind flayer when we see it?
Yeah, have I ever seen anything like that?
You're like, I mean, you can roll a history check to see if you're aware of the stories of mind flayers and the history of them, and see if that's a thing that you know.
12.
Sorry. 6.
No, you haven't really in your travels. You haven't really heard of mind flayers as such. You don't really know much about them. But looking upon this creature now, even in its weakened state, it's a horrible looking thing. It's all tentacles and domed heads, and Abigail kind of circles around the cage, and kind of you can see the look of disgust on her face as she looks upon this creature. She goes, "This is the creature and its kind that are responsible for bringing us here, as far as I'm aware. But
you know where they come from?
From what this one has told us under duress, they come from all planes. They live across the different planes of existence. They are
They are dwellers on multiple levels of existence, and they feed on everything that lives within those planes, including ourselves. We are, to them, just cattle. They see us nothing more than toys to be played with. They are vile, evil creatures that cannot be trusted. We have held this one here to question it after killing most of its kind within the asylum. But we fear that more arrive through these portals of such that they seem to have embedded throughout the dwelling. What he has told us so far is that they were brought here to create creatures, melding our bodies with these entities from other planes of existence, making us vessels of evil, to do the bidding of who knows what. That we have yet to find out. I will continue to question it, but I believe we've come to the end of what we can get out of him. If you have anything you wish to ask, please feel free.
Okay, I'm going to turn to the creature and in utter hubris just say, are there more of you coming?
He kind of twitches ever so slightly and kind of looks towards Abigail, and he kind of twists in his shackles a bit. He kind of looks back at you, and you can't really tell if there's a puzzled look on his face, but his almond-shaped eyes kind of squint ever so slightly. And you hear like a kind of a whisper. You hear it, but you also feel it in your mind ever so slightly. But you hear it, and it's like, many, not just here, but everywhere. You feel like the sense of unease you feel in yourself when you hear his voice.
Does he just respond to Kodeen, or does everybody hear his response?
You all hear, like, you hear the responses, like it's spoken, like the tentacles kind of flap when you hear the speaking ever so slightly.
Yeah.
But you hear it as a voice, but you can feel it in your mind as well.
I better start believing in ghost stories, son. Anyway, so I am going to. Thanks, Ryan. I am going to ask again. Is conquest your mission everywhere?
It kind of seems to rile against this and twist in its manacles and its captive sections, and you see, for the first time, you see Abigail kind of lift her hand, and she kind of turns it ever so slightly. There's a kind of an arcane glow from her hand, and the box around its head twists slightly, and you see the needles kind of move inwards, and the creature kind of, and the tentacles are kind of flapping up, and you can feel this kind of like there's like a heaviness in the room emanates from the creature, like a as this kind of wave of pain emanates out of it. Abigail kind of gets close into the cage. Answer her questions. It kind of twists and turns and looks at Abigail in the slight disgust, and then looks over at you and moves forward in the cage. And it's like, we're brought here to create. And it kind of moves in and leans closer, and you kind of feel the urge to lean in a bit more. And we had fun.
No.
At this point, Aratir takes out her battle axe and with the side of it smacks the cage around his head.
Well,
and rattles it.
it's in it. There's a cage, and then he's in the cage with the cage around his head.
Smacks
So
the
you bang
big
the cage.
cage.
Yeah.
Smacks the big cage in fury because I had enough of this. She does not like when people fuck with others, particularly animals and particularly innocents. And the idea that he came here to fuck up, that it came here with others to have fun, really roils her.
It as you bang on the cage, it kind of you see it reel back in obvious pain. It's like and it scuttles as best it can into the corner of the cage, as far away from you as it can get. The kind of the cage around its head rattles and it bangs itself against the other cage, and you see the needles kind of embed ever more, and there's seepage of fluid kind of seeping down the side of its head and out of the wounds that it on the side that it banged off. It's kind of like Abigail kind of leans in and puts her hand on the cage and looks down, and you see her right hand then turns again, and the arcane energy emanates out, and the cage rattles and pushes inwards, and you hear it screaming. You hear the sound, and you can feel it in your mind. It's pain, and it's like it starts to breathe heavily as she kind of leans in. It kind of looks back up at Aratir and looks at Kodeen. We were brought by the one from this realm. A creature that wanted to do what we want to do. It wants to rule all. It is powerful. And it paid us with the minds of our victims. His name is Kuval. Dillis Kuval.
Okay. All right. I take note of that, and then I ask, is it possible to... how do we keep you out in the future? Can we close the portals?
It's kind of moving in a jerking fashion in the cage now, and as it kind of twitches and back and forth in its shackles, and it kind of looks up at you as like, we did not create the portals, and we cannot close them. Only Kuval.
Okay. All right.
We need to find this Kuval guy then.
Yeah.
Abigail then kind of reaches in and looks at both of you, and she's like, is there anything more you need of this creature? We have not been able to find out a name, but you have, and you had the right questions to ask. They are slippery and always trying to find kinks in your armor of your mind. You both seem quite strong in that regard. But we have contained it with this contraption of... We have a sorcerer within our ranks who has dabbled in such things. They are from a plane that has dealt with these creatures at great length.
Would the people that came would your compatriots that came from different planes like to go back, or are they staying here now, do you think?
Our main goal is to go home. We need to go home, but we need to make sure that this will not continue. We are not going to be stuck in a cycle of torment and torture. These creatures must die. This Kuval creature must pay for his crimes. And then we can return home, safe in the knowledge that we will not be pulled back here.
Okay. We have the person who created the portals. Presumably there are a lot of people here that can create portals. This particular person reached a certain part of the planes of existence to specifically target these creatures. So if we find this person, we could possibly send everybody home. but I presume if you've done 50 years of defense, you've probably served your you've served your time at that point. And if we can get you back, we'll get you back.
Abigail looks at you both, and with a kind of there's a look of gratitude, but slight skepticism as well. It's like, this is a grave undertaking and a huge task and a huge thing to ask of you, but we are willing to help in any way we can. We will fight.
We've had worse odds stacked against us.
We have. We'd be delighted to adventure with you to the end of this particular thread. If that's what you would, if you're willing to come with us on the rest of the trip.
We need to find out where this Quval is. These creatures might know.
Yeah, I suggest we put it to our friend over here.
Upon you saying that, she just literally turns and in full force her hand twists into a fist, and you see the creature twist back in pain as the cage just encloses in its head and the needles pierce deeper as it falls back writhing, and you hear in your mind this scream, this high-pitched scream, and as Abigail leans in her full dragonborn vicious state, just screams, "Where is Quval? Where is he? Where shall we find him? Where can we end him?" You see, she was calm up to this point, but now that endgame is in sight for her, now that the idea that there is a chance that she can go home,
yeah,
she is just full on, I need this information.
Yeah.
After the creature calms down and the screaming stops and the kind of the pain subsides enough, its breathing is deep and it's just rapid. Its chest rising up and down. It's laying on its back. It's twisted, its legs and hands twisted behind it. And you just hear this one word pierce into your minds. And it's a familiar word that you've all heard before, bar, obviously, Abigail. But you just hear, "Terrace more! Terrace more!" over and over again, repeated over and over again in your heads. And then all of a sudden the creature slumps motionless.
He did.
Unmoving. Yeah. Goo seeping from its orifice in its where its ears will be, its almond-shaped eyes dripping its blood out of its mouth. Its twisted and broken form fully fucked up, basically. Abigail turns to the both of you and is like, "Do you know what this Terrace Moor is? Where it is? Was it a place? Is it a person?"
It's a place.
It's a person.
We must travel there. We have means and ways of getting there, but it may take some time. And you have your dragon mounts as such. I think for now, right now, we need to rest. We need to eat and prepare ourselves for the trip. Are you willing to take this trip now?
Yes, I'm willing to take this trip as soon as we're prepared. I think rest and preparation is the way to go next. And we've
lost Kim.
She was frozen for a couple of minutes before we lost her.
And she's back. And she's back. And she's back in the room.
Okay, 3 back in the room.
Okay. Now, so you're willing to take the trip. We can rest up. Your colleague, the tiefling, is resting as such. Clearly, he has been through a lot. A dead husband, a dead best friend. It can take its toll.
Bless him, poor Loran. Been through a lot in the last little while. And
doesn't have the constitution for it, really.
He's a gentle soul, really. He likes to put up a facade of bravado, and he likes to think he's as tough as the rest of us. And he is in his own way. But he's had a bit of a doozy the last while. So just be mindful of that.
Well, I think we should prepare. Myself and Gore shall accompany you on this. We can actually, if you wish to go there quickly, once you rest up tomorrow morning, first thing, our portals, our travel mechanisms allow us to travel. If you are aware of where you're going, if you can picture it in your mind, we can get there. We've quite a collection of magic users here that can give us the ability to travel.
We certainly know where we're going, so that will expedite our journey.
Excellent. Well, that's it settled then. We know where we're going. I cannot believe it after all this time.
Okay, so we're doing this.
Looks like.
You're led back out of the tent. The stench now that's emanating from this mind flayer's dead body is starting to get a bit more. He's ripe. He's ready to go. You're led back through the caverns, and you're both given dwellings for the evening, a tent as such, to rest and rest up. Loran is, for reports to come back, Gore then meets you and says, "Oh, your friend, he's having a sleep. He's well rested, I guess." Loran, is there anything else you want to do at this point, or are you definitely resting?
Oh, I'm sleeping.
Great.
Yeah.
Just wanted to make sure.
Well, I'm pumped out.
You're brought by where Loran's tent is, and you look in, and on a cot, you see face down, snoring his brains out, kind of drooped out. You just see this Loran completely naked in their tent, just lying, just to keep themselves comfortable. Their tiefling butt shining in the cavern light. And
Nice.
So, you are given your dwellings for the evening, and for the sake of brevity, unless there's something else you folks want to do, you have your rest.
A little rest. Grand.
And you wake the next morning, and you're met by Gore and Abigail as they stand in kind of the central area of where the group of tents are in this section. They kind of like checked at each other around. Have you joined them at this point?
Yeah, I suppose.
So Corval was that drow necromancer that we don't know about, that the other guys were told about, right?
Exactly, yeah. So you were told the name, but you weren't given any description of him. You just given the name.
We just know he's a bad man.
Yeah.
Oh, there's another there.
So Loran has joined you, and I take it everyone wants to fill in Loran on what's going on.
Yeah, I'll fill him in.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, absolutely.
I also think Aratir should do it.
Yeah, no, I'm good.
You're good with what?
Not this.
You're you're not coming with us to Terrace Moor.
Well, no, I'll go to Terrace Moor. I just don't want to partake in the whole,
bad guy scenario.
Yeah, because
Battle of it all.
we've fought a lot of them, and there's always another one. So when we're done with this one, there's going to be another one, and really, it's getting I'm just a bit tired. So I would actually like to just go back and live a really nice life, not involved with all of this bullshit.
Where will you go, though, Loran? You told me that you don't really have anybody anymore.
Well, that's true, but I'm very charismatic, so I can make friends pretty easily.
This is true, but you're my friend, and I'd miss you if you left.
That's very sad, but you can come to visit. I don't know, I'll find Swift. He was alright.
You're
Make a
just
life together.
waistcoats.
He had a nice cat. He probably has a nice house. He has a shop. He's probably doing well for himself. I could be a housewife. It'd be nice.
Okay, so you're willing to travel with us, but when we get to Terrace Moor, you want to part ways?
Yeah. Not permanently with you. Permanently with Kodeen for sure. But
Oh, big time.
I fucking hate Kodeen.
This is all within earshot of it. Like,
Just
you're literally all the five of you are all kind of standing in a circle, and Abigail and Gore are kind of just looking at each other while this is happening, going,
I thought it was a thief that stabbed people in the back. Oh,
I've been very upfront about my
I know, I'm
feelings at the
joking.
party.
Yeah.
So Abigail's like, okay, so we're all going to this Terrace Moor place then, yes?
Yes, that's it.
Excellent. Okay, and your emotionally compromised friend may not be traveling further than that with us. Okay, that's fine.
Not emotionally compromised, that's a bit
Well,
harsh. I'm actually dealing with everything quite well, considering.
Well, I'd be emotionally compromised if I lost my husband and my best friend all within the
Oh,
same
yes,
weekend.
but we've been divorced for like years.
Oh, okay. Well,
I don't remember divorcing you.
Through the ether, you just hear this voice. So it's like, well, we need to go to one of our transportation circles. It is off this direction, and we should make our way. You notice as you're moving off, a lot of worried faces are kind of following you because you're taking their leader basically with you, as well as one of her higher up captains. But this is her decision. This is what she's made to do because she wants out. So you are making your way through the caverns, through the caves, and you, for about 5 minutes, you're walking, kind of talking amongst yourselves about what the next steps are going to be. So do you want to do anything at this point, or do you want to just skip ahead and go to the transportation?
Let's... you good, Aratir? You up for some adventuring?
Yeah. Why not?
Let's get going. I hope it's not going to match the vision you had. That would be unfortunate.
Yeah, and that's why I'm kind of, I want that temperamental little bastard to stay with me because that vision still haunts me. And I've kind of grown accustomed to you guys.
Cool. Well, when you're visualizing Terrace Moor to get us there, please don't visualize the one that you saw in your trance.
No, I'm going to focus on the one we left behind.
Yes, preferably with a party.
Yeah, that was a good party, man. That banquet was pretty fun.
It was fucking lit.
And you looked spectacular.
I still do.
Yeah, I'm a little bit grubbier than we were that day.
No, you're always beautiful.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah. So
I already checked. I went over to the goblin with all the daggers to ask him if he's on Bumble, so I can send him Aratir's way. We'll see what happens there.
D&D version of Bumble. So
Rumble.
Yes. So you are, as you're talking, you make your way through the corridors, and you end up in another familiar circular area. With on the ground, you see this large kind of intricate diagram, crisscross lines and script, all basically written out on the floor. You notice that there are 3 individuals kind of surrounding it outside of it, and they're all cloaked in the familiar look of garb of the lost, all wearing their brooch. And they kind of, the main one gestures for you all to kind of take your place in the center of the circle. And it's a female elf, and her wispy voice kind of reaches you from across the cavern. It's like, now, for this to work, I need all of you to try and picture this place in your mind. If you've been there before, picture what you remember. And hopefully, we will be able to get you there in one piece. So for this, I need... No, we don't all have a D100.
You can roll 2d10s.
Yeah, so if everyone... That's what I'm saying. If everyone rolls 2d10s...
Okay.
Yeah.
21.
Okay.
44.
44. Jill.
I did that arseways. Hang on.
I do have a D100, but it's
I got a 9 and a 5. So what way are you doing it?
Oh, does your D10, do you have one with like 2 numbers on it like this?
Yeah, so see the way the D10 is like it's...
Oh, yeah. So roll that twice.
No, roll that and the one with the single numbers. The one with the double numbers is going to be your 50 whatever, and then the single number will be like your second digit.
Last digit, yeah.
Okay, so we've got 60 and a 7.
Okay, so 67. Naomi, what did Loran get?
21.
21. And Kodeen, what you get?
I got 44.
I'm going to roll for the other 2. Oh, that's a good one. That's another good one. Both of those got 80. Oh, wow. Okay. Abigail got an 80 and a 20, so she got 100. Actually, no, she got 82. 82.
Yeah.
82. Sorry, 82. 82. And then Gore got 83. So you're all standing in the circle. The circle then starts to glow as the three individuals around it start to chant. And you feel this kind of strange surge and pulling sensation. As you picture Terrace Moore in your mind's eye, all three of you are trying to remember it the way you left it. I take it, what are you all thinking of when you're thinking of Terrace Moore?
Norman.
The party.
No, you're thinking of Norman, are you?
Yeah.
Okay. You're thinking of who said the party? Okay, and Aratir, what are you thinking of?
My fly-ass armor that I got designed for that party because it was both beautiful and practical.
Cool. Okay, so all of your thoughts combined with those rolls,
Thoughts combined.
you feel this pulling sensation deep in your chest, and the air gets sucked out of your lungs, and all of a sudden, and it feels like for a second your head is just going to go pop, and then you find yourself pushed and falling, and then you're landing on your feet hit cold stone, and you kind of stumble a bit, and then you look up, and each of you are surrounded by each other, and you look up and there's Abigail and there's Gore, and you hear this booming voice at the top of the room screaming, and you look up and your eyes start to focus, and you find yourself that you're in the banquet room, but it doesn't look like the banquet room anymore. It's tables surrounded by soldiers, but they're all looking in the opposite direction. At the top of the room, you see a table with 6 individuals behind it, and pacing back and forth in front of the table is the Viceroy, Arduin Carrick the Black, the third. And then off to the side,
He is a turd.
as you're taking it in, you see the long, sinewy form of Dacius Trevelyan, flanked by Ogan and Norman.
Better.
And
Hey, you guys!
just as you land in, you hear Viceroy turn and point directly at the trio and say, "These 3 must answer for their crimes. The sentence must be death."
But
And that is where we're going to leave the episode in this month's Pubcast Plays Dungeons Dragons. Okay.
Oh man.
Bring it on.
Okay. Thank you to the players. Thank you to everyone who's tuned in. We hope you've enjoyed it. That was a wild ride for me as a DM to kind of get the groups going and see if we could work everyone around. I hope that was informative. There was a lot of information in that one. So you may have to kind of rewatch a few bits of that to see if the lore that was dropped in there kind of it's part of the main story. So kind of keep your eye on it. Thank you to the players. Thank you to everyone.
Thank you.
This has been Pubcast Plays Dungeons Dragons. Don't forget, thank you to Dublin City Comics for our sponsorship. You could win one of these.
Win what?
It's
A thing.
An invisible
magic
tome.
thing. An invisible tome. It's a thing from Dungeons and Dragons. But you can win one of the beautiful art books of the Critical Role Exandria. I keep forgetting the actual title of that book. It's just a guide to Exandria or something. But
It's the
beautiful...
artwork of Exandria.
There we go. Thank you, Naomi. So the artwork of Exandria. It's a gorgeous book, and it is en route to me to be sent to whoever wins the competition. So answer the simple question: what are Mind Flayers otherwise known as in the realm of D&D? So what are Mind Flayers otherwise known as? Put the answer in the comments below and share this video on social media, tagging Pubcast. Make sure you tag Pubcast.
share and tag. Or
Share
you're
and
not.
tag. You can share it from our Facebook page or from our Twitter feed or wherever you see it on social media. And this art book could be yours. Congratulations to our winners for our giveaways for the book and the Baldur's Gate Descent into Avernus and the t-shirt giveaway as well. They will be in the post to you. As soon as I contact you and get your postal details, they will go out to you. This has been Pubcast Plays Dungeons & Dragons. Thanks again to our sponsorship, Dublin City Comics. Thank you to the players. And we will see you next month for episode 12.
Woohoo!
Which episode?
12!